Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. AMD recently released their new high-end GPU, the Radeon 7, and it's, luckily they're promising to release more GPUs this year. But first, check out today's sponsor, Massdrop. They're a group buy website with some amazing deals on gaming hardware. It's free to sign up, and they've got new deals all the time, so check that out in the description below. Okay, it's news time, and today's first story brings us to AMD CTO Mark Papermaster. He stated, quote, "We are really excited to start on the high end with our 7nm Radeon 7, and you will see the announcement over the course of the year as we refresh across our Radeon program." Now, this reveals a few things. For one, I think it's pretty clear that Radeon 7 is this year's high-end AMD card. They may release something more powerful that costs more, with him saying they're excited to start, but the main point is that we won't be getting something like 2080 performance for $400 or anything along those lines. With that said, it also tells us that AMD will be updating their current RX line of GPUs this year. Now, remember when Navi was rumored not long ago to be aimed at the mid-range level? Well, I'm betting this is what that is. I obviously don't know for sure, but given AMD confirmed Navi will be a traditional monolithic GPU instead of similar to how AMD's Zen works, it's tough to expect too much. Really, either way, it's pretty simple to know what to expect as far as performance. Since these will go along with the Radeon 7, there's no way they're going to cannibalize it by making something amazingly cheap with similar performance. With that said, there's a small debate on what Mr. Papermaster meant by refresh. Personally, I don't think he meant it in the same way we do when referring to something like the minor difference between their RX 400 and 500 series GPUs. But who knows? One major downside is that AMD will likely start releases at the bottom of the stack since they only just released the RX 590. So with all of that said, while the price of Radeon 7 is depressingly expensive, it's good they plan to continue pressuring Nvidia along their upcoming GTX line. Next up, Nvidia wasn't too keen on AMD's launch, as CEO Jensen Huang had some choice words during an interview with PC World. He stated it was a, quote, "underwhelming product. The performance is lousy and there's nothing new. There's no ray tracing, no AI. It's 7nm with HBM memory that barely keeps up with the 2080. And if we turn on DLSS, we'll crush it. And if we turn on ray tracing, we'll crush it." He even stated, quote, "It's a weird launch. Maybe they thought of it this morning." Basically, he wasn't feeling so good or something. Personally, I think he wasn't too happy about Lisa Su taking his leather jacket persona. I'm just kidding. Of course, anything I say about it is obviously just my opinion, but yeah, I definitely didn't think it was all that professional, and more than anything may signal that he's a little worried. I mean, between AMD striving to remain at the higher end and Intel promising GPUs soon, Nvidia isn't going to be happy. With that said, they are a rivalry, and AMD did get a chance to dish one back. In a response, Lisa Su stated, quote, "What I would say is that we're very excited about Radeon 7, and I would probably suggest that he hasn't seen it yet." And that's true, though we do have a good idea as to how well it performs. Still, a little classier response, and I think it ultimately made Mr. Huang look kinda childish. Lastly for today, when it comes to performance, AMD did provide us with some more numbers on Radeon 7, with a good deal of gaming benchmarks on the card. Unfortunately, they only made a comparison to Vega 64, and it's a little disconcerting. For one, the benchmarks they did show of Radeon 7 against the 2080 that are guaranteed to be hand-picked, mind you, had very little difference, with 2 of the 3 only giving AMD a 1-frame lead. Second, the difference between Radeon 7 and Vega 64 doesn't seem to be good enough to beat a 2080. It'll likely be very close, but just based on this preliminary data, I'm not super hopeful. Now, they did compare it to the 2080 when it comes to more professional workloads because it beats Nvidia there, but AMD's cards have always been better at general computing when comparing similar cards. Once again though, I'm trying to get a hold of a Radeon 7 and hopefully it'll surprise me. Really, I think it's the price that holds this card back. Even if AMD launched it at $600, I'd be telling a very different story. Still, there's a chance we'll see cheaper prices from third-party vendors. I just wouldn't get my hopes up too much. So while that does it for today, what did you think of Nvidia and AMD's comments? Did Mr. Huang go a little overboard? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, definitely make sure to subscribe. And as always, have a great day.